I found myself drawn into visions beyond any human's grasp. The barriers of the sky ripped open in front of me. I beheld the downfall of those who pledged loyalty, yet turned against the Almighty. Heaven's timeline approaches its close. Omens appear right before us all, yet only a handful recognize them. Get ready, for the great cycle nears completion. Scorching heat, scorching heat! The era of reckoning stands decreed. And here marks the start of the tale. Powerful celestial beings plummeted from the skies in a blaze that sliced the clouds like a blazing blade. They crossed the holy limits established by the Supreme One, violated divine law, claimed human women as mates, and sired colossal offspring whose might and pride shook the very peaks. Enoch ascended to the realms above, past the curtain dividing the earthly from the everlasting, to witness sights unfit for any common soul. The profound mysteries of the rebel angels, the concealed realms of Genesis where ancient radiance endures, and the sacred verdicts that would mold the fate of every person alive. Yet with every unveiling comes the heavy toll of reality. What Enoch uncovered revealed a clash spanning realms. Heavenly envoys came down to our world. Illicit alliances formed in shadow and decay so immense it ignited the fierce fury of the Maker. This goes beyond the chronicle of one selected individual. It recounts a primordial uprising, the tumble of eternal entities, and an ultimate reckoning that would eternally alter the course of the skies, the ground, and every living thing beneath the vault above. Record these things, Enoch, so that those to follow might grasp the reality and ready themselves for the approaching storm. Enoch, Enoch, child of Jared, you whom I hold in favor, heed my summons. Lord, what task do you lay upon me? I am merely mortal, frail in the face of your majesty. I select you to carry my words. Through you, the concealed shall come to light. Rise, Enoch, and trail the guide I send. I am Urian, keeper of the unending enigmas of God. Come alongside me, Enoch, as I unveil the enigmas of the upper realms. I shall also reveal the reality and the rot that has infested the ground like a plague without cure. My lord, this exceeds all I ever envisioned. What realm is this? You stand at heaven's edge, yet not everything awaiting your eyes will shine with glory. Certain realities cast shadows, Enoch, and scar the soul. Document what unfolds before you now and what lies ahead. But bear in mind this, wisdom weighs heavily. Scarcely anyone will embrace it. Most will spurn and ridicule it. Do you embrace this path? If it aligns with God's purpose, I embrace it. Though my spirit fractures, I shall inscribe what demands recording. Grant me, Lord, the fortitude to shoulder this duty's load. Thus, the hidden truths of the divine realms unfolded, but at a steep cost. These form the declarations of Enoch's benediction, bestowed upon the upright and the selected, who endure through the era of trial, when every evil and irreverent soul faces removal. Enoch, an honorable figure whose lips God unlocked, received a glimpse of the sacred presence amid the heavens. And here's what appeared to him. I received a revelation concerning eras yet unborn, not for our time, but for a far-off tomorrow. It concerned the favored, the appointed. I proclaimed it and set it down for them. From the skies descends the sacred and mighty. He shall stride atop Mount Zion and manifest amid his forces with might. He emerges in otherworldly vigor. He arrives alongside 10,000 of his holy ones to carry out justice over everyone, to eradicate the corrupt, and to rebuke all people for the sinful acts the irreverent have wrought against him. Every dweller on the soil shall stir awake. The upright shall thrive while the corrupt perish. Peace shall reign then, and the just shall tread trails of virtue. The Lord serves as their leader, granting them unending radiance. Gaze skyward and note how the luminaries in the vault hold true to their roots. Each emerges and fades with flawless accuracy, in harmony with its cycle. Never defying the Creator's decree, survey the land and all that transpires upon it. From dawn of time to its finale, nothing slips beyond the Supreme One's dominion. Every element of existence heeds the Lord. Behold the portents above, the constellations emerging at their fixed moments, the sun and moon tracing impeccable trails as commanded. No force disrupts their paths. The whole cosmos aligns in flawless submission. But you people have wandered off course. You've forsaken the Lord's paths, and your depravity knows no bounds. Even the overseers dispatched to steer you have veered from duty and fallen into ruin. Thus, retribution descends on the corrupt, and its penalty shall prove dire. Ponder how flora yields produce in due time, how streams hold to their flows, how oceans stay confined within bounds. All of nature upholds the statutes of the Almighty. Yet mortals and the rebel angels have spurned his divine laws. Retribution awaits every sinner, every soul who has strayed into the realm of wrongdoing. In contrast, the faithful shall receive their due reward, attaining everlasting serenity. The unrighteous, however, face annihilation, their legacy erased from existence. Observe the shifting cycles of nature, the blistering heat of summer, the hushed stillness of winter, all of which proclaim the majesty of the Almighty. Yet mankind has unleashed disorder upon the creation through their willful deeds. The reckoning stands ready, and the Sovereign on high will not postpone its arrival. In that shadowed era, as the human numbers swelled beyond precedent, daughters came into the world, beauties of exceptional allure, who brightened the hamlets with their elegance. The heavenly watchers, those sons of the divine realm, gazed upon these women, and was seized by an illicit longing that ignited within their timeless spirits. They confided among themselves, _0_. At that point, Samyaza, their chief, gripped by unease and dread at the enormity of the deed, proclaimed, "1," but they responded with resolute unity, "2," and so they collectively vowed and ensnared themselves in a fearsome oath. 200 in total, 200 defiant luminaries, poised to forsake the firmament. They came down during Jared's time, alighting like fiery apparitions atop the frosted peak of Mount Hermon. That peak earned its name Hermon, for there they pledged and yoked themselves beneath the burden of their solemn imprecation. Here follow the chiefs among them, overseers of their respective bands: Samyaza, their chief, Urakiba, Ramil, Kokabiel, Tamiel, Ramuel, Donal, Ezekiel, Barakiel, Asael, Eros, Batariel, Ananel, Zachiel, Samiel, Sardel, Turel, Joel, and Sariel. 20 commanders, each commanding 10 legions that directed the 200 angels. They each claimed earthly brides, lived with them, and sullied themselves through these prohibited couplings. To their consorts they disclosed sorceries, taboo ceremonies, spells, and the arts of herbal incisions. They imparted mysteries unfit for mortal ears. The women became pregnant and bore enormous entities, the Nephilim, titans towering to 300 cubits, so vast that their shade eclipsed vast swaths of farmland. These behemoths consumed all the toil of humankind. Once human provisions ran dry, the giants turned their hunger upon people, mercilessly devouring mankind. They offended the fowl of the air, the beasts of the wild, the creeping things, and the creatures of the deep. Consumed by savagery, they resorted to consuming one another's bodies and quaffing blood without a trace of regret. The ground itself, defiled and agonized, raised a protest against these violators. Azazel, among the vilest of the fallen host, instructed mortals in crafting blades, daggers, breastplates, and greaves. He unveiled the arcane properties of terrestrial ores and their forging into instruments of conflict. He shared knowledge of finery, adornments, subtle allurements, the application of stibium for eye adornment, the enhancement of lashes, and every variety of gems and pigments that stoked pride and desire. From these teachings arose a deep-seated corruption. Society plunged into debauchery, veering utterly from righteousness. Samyaza imparted spells and root-severing. Amomaros revealed countermeasures to spells. Barakiel expounded on the stars' influences. Kokabil divulged the mysteries of the celestial patterns. Ezekiel instructed in interpreting cloud formations and celestial omens. Arakiel exposed terrestrial portents and earth divination. Shamsiel elucidated solar indicators. Sariel conveyed the moon's path and its concealed truths. As people dwindled, their pleas for deliverance echoed, their anguish piercing the skies and climbing to the celestial portals. Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel peered from above, beholding the carnage and depravity engulfing the land. The forsaken world sends its wail to heaven's thresholds. Now, O exalted holy beings, the spirits of the dying seek refuge with you. The principalities heeded, quaking at the intensity of that plea, and stood in the presence of the celestial sovereign, declaring, "You reign as Lord over lords, God above gods, monarch of monarchs. Your radiant seat persists across the ages. Your title is sacred, mighty, and eternally revered. All existence sprang from your hand, and you hold unchallenged dominion over it. No secret evades your sight. You perceive even what the skies attempt to conceal. You beheld Azil's deeds. He disseminated every manner of iniquity upon the soil and exposed timeless arcana that mortals were never meant to grasp. Sacred wisdom they arrogantly tried to uncover. Samyaza, the one you appointed as their chief, descended to the women of humanity and united with them, staining his essence through unions with earthly females and prompting acts of profound transgression. Those women gave birth to giants, and today the planet overflows with slaughter, brutality, and depravity. The spirits of the slain ascend to the skies, pleading for retribution at your seat of power. Their lamentations ascend like thick vapors. They find no solace amid the pervasive evil enveloping the globe. You perceive every event prior to its unfolding. You witness the unfolding chaos, yet inaction prevails. You instructed us on the measures to take against them. At that moment, the supreme, sacred, and mighty one proclaimed with a thunder that rattled the foundations of existence. He dispatched Uriel to the offspring of Lamech, commanding, "Approach Noah, and convey in my authority that he must seek shelter. Disclose to him the impending conclusion. The entire planet faces annihilation. with deluge overtaking all creation to eradicate every living entity within. Guide the virtuous Noah in the steps required to safeguard his existence and secure his lineage for eras to come. The Lord directed Raphael, "Restrain Azazel by limbs and hurl him into profound obscurity. Create an opening in the Dudael wilderness and deposit him there. Heap jagged boulders over him and shroud him in perpetual gloom. Confine him eternally, barring him from daylight. During the momentous judgment day, consign him to the cleansing flames. Restore the soil defiled by the celestial beings. Proclaim my intent to mend it. Ensuring humanity's offspring avoid ruin, from the forbidden law the watchers imparted and passed to their progeny, Azazel's deeds have tainted the entire world. Thus, assign all transgression to his account. The Lord commanded Gabriel, proceed against the illegitimate offspring, the tainted lineage from divine illicit unions. Eradicate the watcher's progeny from human midst. Incite them to clash among themselves until mutual annihilation. Their extended lifespans shall be denied. No pleas from their progenitors, the rebel angels, on their behalf will succeed, as they presumed immortality and wished for each to endure 500 years. Then the Lord instructed Michael, "Depart and notify Samyaza and his companions, soiled through couplings with females, of their impending doom. Secure them for 70 generations under the ground until the ultimate judgment day, when everlasting verdict concludes. That day, hurl them into the fiery chasm, a realm of anguish and confinement, where eternal bondage awaits. All subsequent condemned and vanquished souls will join their chains until the close of all eras. Obliterate the malevolent entities spawned from the Watcher's actions, which inflicted severe suffering on humankind. Purge all wrongdoing from the soil and halt every malevolent act. Establish equity and verity across the land as a boon. Allow the yield of equity and verity to thrive and shine as lasting radiance. Thus, all the just shall evade corruption and thrive, producing multitudes of offspring. They will fulfill their spans from vigor to senescence in tranquility. Then the entire globe will thrive under equity, adorned with foliage and brimming with prosperity. The foliage will yield plentiful bounty, the grapevines will flourish robustly, and the ground will deliver splendid yields. Every kernel will multiply 1,000-fold. Each portion of olives will render 10 portions of refined oil. And you, celestial guardians, cleanse the realm of every tyranny, wrongdoing, transgression, defilement, and depravity enacted upon it. Annihilate the malevolent from the earth's surface. Bring all corrupt actions to a halt. Then sow equity in their stead. And now, my offspring, proclaim verity and dwell in equity. For along equity's trails you shall take root and prosper eternally. In that era, I was lifted away from mortal kin. Celestial beings summoned me and guided me to a remote domain. They neared me akin to a blistering gale and declared, "Enoch, chronicler of equity, heed our directive. Proceed to the watchers who forsook heaven's splendor and embraced carnal ways. They abandoned radiant summits to consort with human females, corrupting the pristine and scarring the world to its core. Convey to them with mandate that respite and atonement elude you. Tranquility has escaped your grasp." Quote 8. Enoch. Go back to the observers and proclaim my verdict. You were formed to endure forever, crafted from essence and glow, yet you selected the way of carnality and bonded with human females. You forsook your holy abode and shared prohibited knowledge with mortals. turning people into partners in your downfall. Thus, peace and pardon are denied. Regarding your offspring, those colossal beings from this unholy coupling, they shall perish. As they sow ruin far and wide, this serves as the confinement for the celestial beings. They shall endure here until the momentous occasion when they are hurled into the everlasting pit. The offspring of the observers, those titans, shall meet their end. Yet their essences won't rise to the heights. They shall roam the land as malevolent phantoms. Born of both body and soul, they'll fit in no realm. Once their forms are eradicated, their spirits shall turn into unseen tempests, entities sparking suffering, disorder, and aggression among humanity. They won't partake in food or drink. Rest eludes them. Formless, still, they'll unleash havoc. These essences will assail both men and women, since they originated from them, lingering until time's closure, until the Almighty's decree comes to pass. Quote 11. These accounts shall caution all future eras, revealing how the observers deserted paradise and how their heirs dragged the world into woe. My ruling will prove fair, and none culpable shall evade it. Enoch, faithful chronicler, now witness what scarce eyes have beheld. All this shall unfold before you, that you might perceive the cadence of the cosmos and the fates assigned to the just and the unjust. First, I journeyed to a domain where flows ascended skyward. It was a radiant sea traversed by fiery streams and pillars of inferno, cascading like animated cascades. The splendor there appeared to pulse with life. I inquired, "What realm is this?" "This marks the divide between paradise and the ground. The base supporting the vault above. Here commences the unseen domain." Afterward, I was directed to a chaotic vista. Gale, liquid and blaze, intertwined as if whirling under unseen directives. There stood the earth's underpinnings, the storage for tempests, from which roared thunder, bolts, and raging gusts. The angels proclaimed, "These are the wonders of the created world, set aside for the time when the Lord brings his verdict upon humanity and the heavenly beings." Next, they escorted me to a vast chasm where the watchers were confined. These were ghostly figures of sorrow, their gazes hollow and their essences shattered. My guides explained, "These are the watchers who came down to the mortal realm and took wives among the daughters of men. Bound in chains they now endure until the ultimate reckoning. Their offspring, those mighty giants, have perished, yet their tainted essences continue to plague the realm of the living. From there I was brought to the dwelling place of the departed. In that realm I beheld 4 separate domains. One held the virtuous in tranquil repose, while the other 3 were grim abodes of anguish for the guilty who lingered in suffering as they awaited their fate. I inquired, "What is this domain?" The angels replied, "This is Sheol, the gathering place for souls until the end of days. Here the just find rest, but the unrighteous endure torment before being consigned to the everlasting blaze." Afterward, the angels directed me to a fiery chasm where the inferno blazed without cease. The fires, twisted like serpents in agony, coiling around pillars that glowed with searing heat. I exclaimed, "What a dreadful domain this is!" They responded, "In this place, the defiant spirits and those mortals who willfully turned from the Almighty will dwell eternally." Then, I was conveyed to an immense peak, grander and more radiant than any earthly summit. Its crest sliced through the heavens and gleamed like molten gold. At the top, I witnessed the throne of the Most High, encircled by streams of living flame and countless hosts of angels whose hymns shook the cosmos. From this seat, he renders judgment over every aspect of existence. Close by the throne stood a towering tree that captured the eye with the brilliance of its produce, its light throbbing like a heartbeat. I questioned, "What extraordinary tree is this?" They answered, "It is the tree of life. In the era of renewal, its bounty will sustain the faithful, granting them unending existence." Following that, I was shown a ravine of splintered stone and raging flames. One angel declared, "In this spot, the arrogant rulers will face their doom, those who oppressed the blameless and wielded their authority to crush the vulnerable." I also glimpsed peaks laden with gold and gems, streams that murmured melodies, and lush paradises, brimming with vitality and illumination, as the angel described. In the end, I returned to the celestial heights to witness the orbits of the stars, the sun, and the moon. There I observed how every heavenly orb adhered to a flawless trajectory, submitting to the timeless decrees of the Maker. An angel drew near and spoke in tones resonant like gales through the highlands. As the stars unwaveringly pursue the course set by God, so must humankind align with his purposes. Yet the corrupt spurned their Creator, and thus head toward unavoidable retribution. The angels then returned me to the Holy Mount, where the Most High addressed me unmediated. His words encompassed all that surrounded me, as though the very rocks echoed his essence. "O Enoch, diligently inscribe everything you have beheld and comprehended. These declarations are for the generations to follow. The faithful shall abide in serenity and claim the transformed world, while the evil vanish for all time. I shall weigh all that exists, and my righteousness shall stand perpetual." With that, my visions drew to a close, and I committed to record every detail I had encountered. These disclosures served as admonition to the reprobate and assurance to the upright, ensuring that all ages recognize the steadfast, authentic, and unerring nature of divine judgment. This concludes the first segment of my revelations and ushers in the second volume, a compilation of deep-seated visions concerning the fates of the just and the unjust, the concealed portals of the skies, and the enigmas upholding creation. Within this volume lie 3 parables, allegorical sights presented by my angelic escorts. Thus commenced the second major vision bestowed upon me. Enoch, the sovereign of splendor, the timeless monarch, bestowed his favor upon me and unveiled my sight to truths concealed since the origins. In this sight I perceived the profound connection between the heavens and the earth, the sanctuary of the righteous aglow like perpetual daybreak, and the lot of the transgressors sunk in unrelenting shadow. The conclusion for both mortals and celestial ones was laid bare, with no detail overlooked. I viewed the domain set apart for the virtuous, a realm fashioned for them across the ages where harmony knows no bounds. Likewise, I witnessed the trajectory of the malefactors, hurled into perpetual conflagration, where even radiance dares not penetrate. All of this was disclosed to me for inscription and transmission to those yet unborn. The ruler of the firmament communed with me face to face, unveiling arcana once beyond human grasp. The intent of these parables shines evident: to instruct on the impending equity, the retribution set aside for all beings, and the unshakable vow of everlasting life for the devoted. The Lord of Spirits unveiled everything to me, both the seen and the unseen. He disclosed the balance of the celestial bodies, the course of bolts from the sky, the hidden force behind the rumble of storms, and the puzzles buried deep within the ground. Now I shall share the three parables that were made known to me. The initial one outlines the fate awaiting the upright and the guilty, along with the moment when the just shall receive full redemption. The next delves into the enigmas surrounding the Son of Man, the figure destined to pass judgment over all existence with unending power. The final one heralds the coming realm of God, the renewal of true equity, and the utter downfall of evil. These teachings were granted so everyone might grasp that the Lord of Spirits upholds righteousness, and no secret will stay concealed indefinitely. I, Enoch, beheld profound visions about the ultimate path for humanity and the heavenly hosts. The Most High imparted them to ensure later generations comprehend the events ahead. The faithful appear to me as radiant beams in full sunlight, their countenances gleaming like polished gold. No dread grip them as they shall stride eternally in the glow of the Son of Man. Yet I also witnessed the end for the unrighteous. They were uprooted from the soil and hurled into perpetual gloom. Their disgrace endured without end, offering no solace to their spirits. I observed the earth's renewal, bursting with plenty, peaks and slopes resounding in delight, while the virtuous journey alongside the Son of Man, beneath an unending radiance. That shall mark the grand occasion, when the faithful gain their triumph, and the malevolent face total ruin. The Lord of Spirits guided me then to a realm of unimaginable splendor, home to the holy ones. All within emanated serenity, expansive orchards resembling utopias, branches heavy with aromatic produce, and a gentle illumination that pulsed with life. Here reside the elect of the Most High. No sorrow invades this domain, only boundless delight. In contrast, I viewed the lot of those who spurned God, a shadowy void of relentless agony, where the guilty reflect on the consequences of their choices. At last I beheld 4 mighty archangels standing before the throne of the Most High. Michael, defender of the divine flock, Raphael, healer and renewer of the just, Gabriel, bearer of sacred proclamations, and Phanuel, overseer of the chosen's aspirations, the guide who ushers believers toward immortality. These 4 archangels appeared before me as towering beacons of brilliance, steadfast like eternal columns of fire. Their chants reverberated, booming like tempests across vast seas or the crash of countless cascades tumbling from lofty summits. Holy, holy. As their song swelled through the skies, a veiled barrier parted unseen, exposing the inner workings of creation. The sun followed a fiery orbit. The moon glided quietly along its luminous route, and the stars adhered to the Supreme One's commands, advancing in disciplined ranks like soldiers. I glimpsed the vaults of breezes, the storehouses holding precipitation, and the vaults of tempests, celestial armaments held in reserve for reckoning day. It dawned on me that the universe harbors no chance. Every element holds its position by God's decree. My gaze then shifted to even greater depths, the heavenly ledgers. Etched within were the innermost thoughts, spoken words, and actions of all mortals. The virtuous entries promised endless vitality, while those of the wicked foretold retribution. In that instant, I grasped that during the Supreme Tribunal, these records would unfold publicly, with each soul evaluated by its personal record. Moreover, I watched wisdom cascade from the firmament. She searched for refuge amid humankind, yet hearts remained unyielding. In their hubris, people dismissed her, prompting wisdom's sorrowful cry. Underscore, underscore, quote underscore, 24 underscore underscore. This pierced my soul with grief, for to shun wisdom is to forego the Almighty's grace and safeguard. As I pondered these revelations, the stars reappeared in my sight. Each bore an identity, a role, and a charge from the Lord of Spirits. But some had strayed from their orbits, defying the route ordained by the divine. These defiant luminaries were flung into the chasm of doom, sharing the doom of the wayward watchers. From this, I discerned that even celestial bodies bear the cost of rebellion. Next, the souls of humankind came into view. The pure-hearted rose like flawless fires, welcomed with jubilation among the upper realms. The corrupt, however, were driven back and consigned to shadowy domains, pending their unavoidable verdict. The angel proclaimed, "Let the righteous celebrate, for the Most High serves as their unassailable refuge. Yet let the wicked quake, because the day of reckoning draws near, and none shall evade the righteous verdict from the Lord of Spirits." Following this, I encountered yet another parable, a deep revelation concerning the Son of Man, the figure destined to govern every nation and render the ultimate judgment over all that exists. In my vision, an extraordinary throne rose far above the celestial realms, encircled by blazing flames and a radiance beyond words. Upon it sat a being whose countenance gleamed more intensely than the sun, his garments whiter than new-fallen snow. Innumerable angels encircled him, honoring him with awe and melodies that echoed through eternity. I inquired, "Who is this one enthroned in splendor?" The angels replied, "Behold the Son of Man unveiled since the dawn of time, chosen to pass sentence on rulers and the lowly alike, on the just and the unjust. To the upright he grants illumination, but to the unrepentant evildoers, unending ruin." Next, I witnessed the Lord of Spirits calling forth every people, leaders, nobles, ordinary folk, and servants. They all stood arrayed before the Son of Man. He unveiled the heavenly records, and judgment fell on each based on their deeds. The mighty quivered, grasping that their thrones and treasures held no value in that place. They sought refuge in vain, for no darkness could shield them. In contrast, the faithful were summoned with dignity, their features radiant, their spirits serene. To them, the Son of Man declared, "Approach, you favored by my Father. Claim the realm set aside for you since the foundation of the world." I then observed the guilty hauled away to a realm of perpetual night, where flames rage without ceasing and anguish endures forever. An angel addressed me then, his tone so weighty it stirred the very atmosphere. "Such is the fate awaiting those who rebelled against the Most High, who trampled the innocent and reveled in paths of depravity. Into this abyss are hurled the wayward angels and even the stars that strayed from their courses. All implore compassion, yet none is granted to those who defiled the world and sought to seize what is solely the Creator's." Upon hearing this, I found myself transported to a realm of breathtaking splendor, as if it belonged to an entirely different cosmos from the depths I had beheld. This was the abode of the virtuous, featuring trees towering like pillars of luminescence, heavy with glowing produce. Streams of vital waters, coursed like clear gems, bathed in a gentle glow unbound by any solar source, enduring without end. The angel informed me, Here dwell the righteous, existing in tranquility beneath the Son of Man's watchful presence. Sorrow shall not touch them, nor suffering revisit. I watched as the upright strolled through vibrant groves, their praises blending in flawless harmony. The angels elaborated, the Son of Man arrives not merely to adjudicate, but to safeguard his devoted followers. He heralds the close of all wrongdoing, the total downfall of malevolence. His title had been uttered in the Most High's court, ere the peaks were formed, and he shall govern over every aspect of existence. I beheld the Son of Man extending his arm, and the cosmos appeared to inhale anew. The ground, scarred by human folly and the watcher's deeds, mended in my sight. Fairness emerged like verdure after a shower, and all that was tainted turned immaculate once more. The righteous thrived in harmony under his rule, infused with insight beyond any earthly sovereign's grasp. Then resounded the Lord of Spirits' voice. Here is my Son, the elect. He illuminates the peoples and offers solace to the faithful. With equity he shall weigh every matter, and his dominion endures eternally. No secret shall stay concealed. All beings shall kneel in his presence. With that, the second parable's vision concluded. At last I comprehended that the Son of Man embodies both salvation and verdict, solace for the good and dread for the malevolent. Soon after, the third parable unfolded before me. Within it I glimpsed God's impending realm, where equity not only revives but holds sway without cease. I was also revealed the ultimate lot of the Creator's foes. Like withered weeds consigned to the blaze, they shall be excised from the order of things. Once more I viewed the Son of Man upon his resplendent seat, wreathed in fervent brilliance and cascades of fiery streams. The expanse of heaven thrummed in his orbit, attended by hosts upon hosts of angels. As he reached forth, the entire planet rejuvenated. The virtuous trod in his radiance, and every blemish yielded to pristine wholeness. Malice found no foothold there, not even its faintest trace. Next appeared the monarchs and mighty who had hounded the just. They were paraded to the seat of power, where the divine ledgers were unfurled. Each deceit, each wrong, every act of subjugation stood inscribed within. They sought to escape, yet no stone offered shelter. The Son of Man gazed upon them and declared, quote, 33 those evildoers were hurled into the endless chasm, a realm of ceaseless flames where respite is unknown. Following this, I witnessed the Lord of Spirits reaching out across the globe, revitalizing the land as a craftsman restores his finest work. Barren peaks burst into fresh vitality. Parched lowlands transformed into expansive verdant fields. Crystal streams emerged from former wastelands. Trees brimmed with radiant produce, each seeming infused with heavenly glow. Everything tainted by transgression, everything desecrated by humans and rebel angels, returned to its pristine splendor from the dawn of time. Next, the faithful traverse this reborn world, free from dread or suffering, unclouded by any gloom. Their countenances gleamed like dawn's first rays, while the Lord's essence enveloped them in serene protection. The Son of Man moved among the throng, and at every footprint, delight flowered like perpetual bloom. The angels at my side announced, quote 34. Yet the scene shifted abruptly. The defiant watchers who forsook the heavens and defiled mankind appeared shackled before the Son of Man. Terror twisted their features as realization dawned. No crevice, gloom, or depth could conceal their crimes. Judgment unfolded before the entirety of existence. To them, the Son of Man proclaimed, quote, 35 angels then parted the gulf, flinging the watchers downward like plummeting boulders in utter quiet. There they endure eternally, bereft of any redemption. Their progeny, the Nephilim's spectral essences from unholy bonds, faced similar reckoning. They, too, plummeted into perpetual agony, their malevolent influence forever silenced against the world of the living. Once judgments concluded, God's realm arose as a metropolis of unending brilliance. The upright dwelt in flawless unity with the Most High. The Son of Man governed with insight surpassing any mortal sovereignty. Divine splendor cascaded through all realms like an infinite torrent. Every angel, human, and celestial being knelt before the Son of Man. Every voice exalted his title. Veiled mysteries of heaven and earth unfurled like unveiled parchments. Shadow and iniquity vanished entirely. The cosmos, mended and unified, thrived in total accord beneath the Most High's timeless dominion. Then the Lord of Spirits addressed me. Enoch, these sights unfold for you to convey understanding to those yet to come. Let the faithful hold fast to expectation, their deliverance at hand. But urge the guilty to turn back, for my verdict approaches, inescapable to all. I shall cleanse and remake my works, purging every blemish. The just shall radiate like constellations, their bliss unending. The corrupt, though, shall fade, their legacy wiped clean eternally. So concluded the third parable's revelation. I observe justice's ultimate victory over darkness and the perpetual reign of God's domain. I inscribe these accounts that posterity might grasp the Most High's righteousness and fidelity. May the upright celebrate and rely on the Lord, his rule enduring forever. May the errant reform, for the Son of Man's reckoning is inevitable, demanding reckoning from each soul. The Book of Luminaries opens. Quote 37. It emerges from one of the portals in the east and descends via a different one in the west, steadfastly adhering to the decree of the Most High. Quote 38. The year consists of 364 days, and the sun completes its circuit with unerring accuracy that cannot be disrupted. No season comes prematurely or lingers beyond its time. Everything aligns precisely, functioning as the flawless mechanisms of a sacred timepiece. Beyond measuring the hours, the sun upholds every form of life. Absent its warmth, no harvest would mature, no being could endure. It stands as proof of the Most High's might. Once he had detailed the sun's ways, he guided me toward the moon for closer scrutiny. He declared, "The moon pursues its own trajectory. Its phases span 29 or 30 days, varying by the month. Its glow builds like a vow being fulfilled, then fades like a parting gesture. All of this unfolds under God's directive. I observed its radiance swelling to peak fullness midway through the month, resembling a gleaming disk hovering overhead. Afterward, I witnessed it waning, a slender crescent, shrinking to a mere glimmer before vanishing entirely, concluding its appointed round. The moon possesses no inherent shine. It merely echoes the sun's brilliance. United, they brighten the world below, signaling eras and cycles, governing lunar periods, ocean swells, and the subtle pulses of existence. In the final era, countless souls will confound the truths of these celestial patterns, spurn the divine arrangement, and reshape eras and cycles to suit their desires. Following those declarations, he elevated me further and gestured toward the vast host of stars. Then he proclaimed, Every star bears a title, a function, and a fixed route. They adhere to their orbits with unwavering loyalty, akin to warriors who never shirk their duty. Only those who turned against the Most High stray, ripped from their stations and hurled into the void, where they linger pending their reckoning. I beheld the star groups wheeling like fiery chariot wheels across the vault of heaven, delineating the shifts of seasons and weaving the calendar with flawless exactitude. Uriel added, his finger, radiant as if forged from pure luminescence, indicating them. These celestial bodies herald the splendor of the Most High. Their devotion offers a wordless exhortation to all people. Yet humanity's spirit has grown dim and rebellious, scorning the Maker and undermining the harmony bestowed upon it. The plunge of those stars serves as a caution. Any who forsake the Most High's course tumble into identical obscurity. Next, he illustrated the year's partitioning into quarters. I perceived the alterations in the sun's arc, the moon's progression, and the stars signaling every shift. He stated, "The year comprises 364 days divided into 4 balance periods, each allotted its complete span. In this manner, the Lord established it, allowing people to dwell in synchrony with the world's vital flows. Enoch, commit these revelations to writing and impart them to those who follow. Instruct them through heaven's beacons to pursue my paths." The lights of the sky heed my voice, whereas humankind has wandered astray. The Most High alerted me to the end times. Numerous will twist the insights concerning sun, moon, and stars, tampering with the timetable and subverting celestial statutes. Still, the faithful shall stand firm, led by my radiance. With this, the chronicle of the luminaries drew to a close, a divine unveiling meant to enlighten descendants that the vast cosmos submits to God, and that people ought to follow suit. The disciplined motions of sun, moon, and stars offer enduring evidence of the Most High's sagacity and dominion, alongside an admonition to the defiant. Praised be the Lord of spirits, fashioner of skies and soil, whose designs are without flaw. Let the people draw lessons from the heavenly bodies to praise his name eternally. During this time, 2 extraordinary visions were revealed to me. One depicted the massive deluge, while the other illustrated the full sweep of humankind's story, from Adam right up to the close of ages, using symbolic beasts. I, Enoch, sat quietly at home when suddenly the heavens ripped apart above me. The revelation struck with the force of a storm. Clouds split wide like oceans hanging in the sky, unleashing endless torrents of water. Mountains vanished beneath the surge, valleys submerged in towering swells, and every living creature was swept off by the relentless flow. Dread gripped my soul. I called out to the Lord of Spirits, "O Supreme One, what is this sight? Shall the entire world perish? And the upright ones, what fate awaits them?" Then came his voice, "The power that upholds all creation. Enoch, this sight foretells the reckoning descending on the land, due to humanity's depravity. A vast flood shall erase the evil from the earth. Yet I shall safeguard the just. Share this with your kin. Within them stands a devoted soul I have selected. He shall construct a vessel, and he, along with his companions, will endure through my wrath." Quote 49. "From Noah and his household, the world shall be replenished and renewed. I shall spare Noah's life and that of his group, but the guilty shall meet their end." These declarations filled my heart with deep solace. I grasped that amid looming doom, God would not forsake the faithful, nor permit the spark of goodness to fade entirely from existence. In a separate revelation, the famed animal Allegory, I was shown mankind's whole chronicle from Adam through to the ultimate verdict, rendered in emblematic forms with profound significance. Here, people took the guise of beasts, tribes and kingdoms manifested as varied creatures, while angels oversaw it all, steering and noting every moment as quiet guardians of mortal fate. From the ground arose a pure white bull, Adam, humanity's origin. Beside him emerged a heifer, Eve. Soon after, another white bull appeared, Seth, inheritor of the covenant. In Seth's wake, countless white bulls multiplied, embodying the early lines of the godly, those who followed the highest's radiance. Yet gradually, a shift unfolded. Certain bulls mingled with foreign beasts, breeding odd hybrids. This blending stood for the spreading rot, as people forsook virtue and embraced vice, shaming their true nature. The angels observed in sorrow as humankind veered further from the roots to salvation. Next in the scene, the Lord of Spirits summoned an angel and directed him to fashion an ark as a sanctuary for the loyal white bulls. The floodwaters surged fiercely, inexorably covering the globe. All outside the vessel perished in the deluge. Once the purge concluded, a fresh white bull stepped from the ark, Noah, accompanied by 3 bull calves, his offspring, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. From their branches sprang fresh peoples, the groups destined to refill the planet post-catastrophe. As the vision progressed, these bulls raised a towering structure, aiming to touch the skies. But the Lord of Spirits intervened, toppling the edifice and muddling their speech, dispersing them over the lands. This was the Tower of Babel, birthplace of linguistic variety. Afterward, I watched as the Lord dispatched angels to shepherd the surviving white bulls. Like heavenly herders, they steered the pious through a realm fraught with perils. Then a striking figure arose. Amid the bulls stood a grand ram, horned and mighty, resolute and regal. This ram signified a divine emissary, tasked with rallying and directing the flock, the wayward sheep who had gone astray. The ram rallied the dispersed herd and led them steadfastly. Meanwhile, wolves and beasts of prey materialized, embodying the malevolent and the oppressors of the faithful. Yet the ram ushered the devoted sheep to a haven crafted by the Most High, where the predators faced opposition and ultimate defeat. In the vision's close, the Lord of Spirits founded his realm upon the earth. The white sheep, the virtuous, dwelt secure and glad. The wolves and savage creatures, the evildoers, were banished, powerless to inflict further damage. The world stood reborn, purified, with no trace of darkness lingering. The Lord resided amidst his people, his radiance enveloping all like a perpetual sunrise. As Enoch, I recorded these visions for those who would follow, ensuring they understand that the verdict of the Almighty is fair and accurate. These disclosures served as a caution to the unrighteous and a bolster to the faithful. The Lord of Spirits shall evaluate every aspect of existence. The faithful will receive deliverance and affirmation. The unrighteous face retribution and annihilation. All who encounter these declarations should take them to heart and pursue the ways of uprightness, since the reckoning is inevitable. Here end the visions granted to Enoch about the deluge and the chronicle of mankind. disclosing the gravity of divine retribution alongside the assurance of restoration and a everlasting realm of virtue. I, Enoch, pen these declarations as evidence and alert, a proclamation to the wayward and a shining assurance to the just across every era. The Lord of Spirits unveiled these truths to me, unveiling the courses of human fates, displaying the route to vitality and the chasm set aside for the corrupt. My offspring, attend to my counsel and engrave it within your innermost beings, for it holds timeless validity and essential guidance for enduring the trials ahead. These directives apply to you and every succeeding lineage. Embrace virtue in your living. Tread the road of honesty, uphold fairness. Shun the trails blazed by the errant and ensure your steps never veer from the edicts of the Supreme One. Bear in mind always that no secret eludes the gaze of the Lord of Spirits. He observes everything, assesses everything, and no detail slips from his recollection. Now I address the yet unborn, the lineages destined for eras of obscurity. Be aware that periods of intense affliction draw near, when mortal resolve will be refined like metal in the blaze. Yet recognize, too, that beyond these hardships, the decree of the Almighty will arrive with unyielding might. The corrupt will fancy that their wealth and might shield them from accountability, yet they err gravely. The Lord of Spirits perceives their torment of the just, their spilling of pure blood, and their saturation of the world with brutality and falsehood. Such transgressors will be consigned to unending gloom, devoid of respite, solace, or legacy. Their legacy will dissipate like mist swept away by the breeze. In contrast, the just will attain serenity, and the Supreme One will shelter them amid adversities, much as a devoted guardian watches over his flock. On the doom of the errant, I observed how numerous ones thrive in their fleeting span on this plane. They amass authority, treasure, and sway, convinced it will rescue them from peril. But I discerned that ultimately it all slips from their grasp. I beheld their unavoidable downfall as awareness dawns that resistance is futile. I watched them hauled into the depths where fires eternally rage and anguish endures without end. They pleaded for clemency, but it was withheld, for they defiled the works of creation and defied the Lord of Spirits. Understand this: the Most High overlooks no wrongdoing. The reckoning shall be equitable, clear, and final. Every follower of iniquity will discover no justification holds, and every chance for contrition has been squandered. Yet I also glimpsed the splendid outcome for the faithful, which swelled my spirit with deep elation. I viewed celestial beings descending from the skies to collect the devoted and escort them to a brilliant haven of tranquility. No agony, distress, or dimness lingered there. Solely unending delight in the company of the Supreme One. The faithful gleamed akin to celestial bodies in the heavens, emitting brilliance that brightened the whole of existence. I perceived the Lord of Spirits strolling in their midst, his splendor encircling them like a cloak of celebration. Those who endured claimed the restored world, free from mortality, deterioration, or night. I share this with you, my descendants, to prevent despondency during ordeals. The wayward might bloom briefly, but their conclusion is abrupt and void. Yours, though, endures forever, secured in the domain of the Most High. The Lord of Spirits then bestowed upon me a deep revelation of mankind's timeline, segmented into 10 grand periods, 10 epochs, molding the full trajectory of humanity. During the initial period, I beheld the genesis of sky and soil, along with the crafting of Adam, humanity's pioneer. In the subsequent era, I observed the surge of corruption and the vast inundation that cleansed the ground, preserving solely Noah and his kin. In the third, Abraham emerged, progenitor of countless peoples, bearing the sacred selection upon his descendants. In the fourth, the statutes were delivered to Moses, instructing the nation in the art of virtuous conduct. In the fifth, the lineage of Israel was steered by rulers and seers, laboring to sustain devotion. During the sixth week, I witnessed the people plunging into wickedness, leading to their captivity among foreign peoples as punishment for their transgressions. In the seventh week, the arrival of the Messiah appeared before me, the Holy One destined to deliver salvation, overcoming sin and reigniting hope for the faithful. The eighth week revealed a whole era of uprightness, where the blade of retribution was placed in their hands, allowing righteousness to spread across the globe. By the ninth week, the ultimate reckoning for every wrongdoer unfolded. The deeds of the evil were erased from existence, readying the planet for divine favor. In the 10th wake, an unimaginable sight emerged. A renewed sky and ground, aglow with an otherworldly radiance. It formed an everlasting, untainted realm, free from all evil. The verdict from the Almighty stood firm, locked in eternity. There, the just resided in safety, and the Supreme One moved freely in their midst, emanating a splendor beyond any child's reach. These 10 periods stood as clear proof of the flawless equity from the ruler of spirits and his masterful design for humankind. Rest assured, every vow from God shall inevitably unfold. Through my revelations, I observed the virtuous rejoicing and exaltation, declaring, "Praise to the ruler of spirits who granted us everlasting existence and freed us from every form of evil." His verdicts are fair, and his compassion lasts without end. Yet, I also beheld the guilty wailing in anguish with shattered tones. Why ignored we the cautions? Why chased we our selfish whims? Now shadows engulf us, with no salvation in sight, my kin in faith. I record this so you and those who follow might grasp that the ruler of spirits acts with unwavering righteousness and fidelity. Follow his paths, and serenity awaits in his timeless domain. But should they stray from his decrees, they head straight for the chasm of doom. Be aware, the Supreme One's reckoning draws close. The faithful will gleam like timeless celestial bodies, while the guilty fade away, like overlooked phantoms. Let these declarations serve as both alert and solace for you. The ruler of spirits governs every facet of existence, and his dominion endures unbroken. Next, my son Methuselah drew near, his expression etched with grave worry. He spoke. "Father, Lamech has fathered a boy, unlike any other infant. His flesh gleams snow-white with a rosy tint like a fresh-bloomed flower. Locks of hair as spotless as lamb's wool crown his head, and his gaze sparkles like sunlight. When those eyes part, the room brightens as though dawn has broken. Father, this boy appears otherworldly, akin to heaven's messengers. What significance does he hold? How shall I proceed?" These tidings made my spirit quake. I sensed the infant's arrival foretold events both majestic and dire. Thus, I sought the ruler of spirits in supplication, pleading for insight into this portent. He replied, "Noah, this boy shall prove a man of integrity. He will rescue mankind from the looming purge. A vast deluge comes from me to cleanse the world of its taint. Yet, via Noah and his lineage, renewal awaits the land." He and the upright at his side shall endure, as the corrupt meet their end. I then went back to Methuselah and told him, My child, this boy bears a unique mantle. The ruler of spirits has selected him for a vast mission. Safeguard and nurture him, for through him shall come deliverance for those yet unborn. In closing visions, the doomed path of the unrighteous resurfaced, stirring sorrow in my soul. They were herded to a realm of perpetual gloom, flames raging without cease. No respite, no solace, just ceaseless mourning. The ruler of spirits then instructed, Enoch, inscribe these truths as a caution for those to come, since no refuge exists for my defiant ones. Their wealth offers no shield, nor their might any release from my decree. They shall vanish from memory, unrecallable by any soul on earth. Likewise, I viewed the sentencing of the rebel angels and their offspring, the giants. Bound in chains, they tumbled into the fiery void, confined there without respite. Such awaits all who defy the Supreme One. May these accounts urge every heart toward virtue, steering clear of the wicked's trail. On the brighter side, the righteous future filled me with elation. They entered a haven of brilliance, tranquility, and unending repose. Free from agony or sorrow, it brimmed with vitality. The faithful radiated like constellations, bathing the cosmos in glow. The Supreme One strode beside them, his majesty illuminating all. He commanded, Enoch, set down these favors for the upright, that they comprehend their devotion held true worth. Though trials beset them here, boundless recompense gleams in my realm. I serve as their shelter and their power, and I shall never abandon them. Having beheld all these visions, I realized my days upon the earth were nearing their end. I gathered my sons and spoke to them. My sons, I have shared everything the Lord of Spirits has revealed to me. Guard these teachings and transmit them to your offspring. Live in uprightness and honesty, steering clear of the paths taken by the wicked. In this way, you shall discover serenity in the realm of the Most High. Afterward, the Lord of Spirits summoned me, and the angels carried me up to the heavens. As they guided me, I saw the world fading away below, while I journeyed to the abode, where the Most High resides in unending splendor. There, among the faithful, the angels assigned me a spot, and my soul attained peace and solace. These writings come from Enoch, penned for the ages to come. Understand this: the Lord of Spirits is righteous and faithful. His verdicts endure forever, and none can evade his reckoning. Obey his commands, and you will gain everlasting life. Yet if you defy him, you shall tread the road to the depths of ruin.